and welcome to another exciting episode of the Muslim Bawa Show. And I'm your host, Muslim Bawa Kuli. There is a saying which goes, humanity is not a choice, but necessity. So with this, we introduce one of our guests in here today who happen to be part of the humanitarian act within our society. I think he has done more. We have done more with regard to trying their best to eradicate poverty and then hunger out of our system. So without wasting much time, we introduce him in here. So he is in the name of MOHAMMED SYLLA. So bro, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we just mentioned your name, so we would like you getting more detail with regard to who you are.
Okay. So basically, like you said, my name is Mohammed Sylla. With regards to humanitarian field, I'm the Executive Director of Islamic UMMAH Relief, an organization headquartered in the United States with branches in Ghana, Nigeria, Niger, Uganda. For Ghana, like I said, I'm the Executive Director leading the activities within the country. Personally, I'm a freelance IT, graphic design, and web development.
Okay.
So primarily, I'll say that's all about me.
Oh, okay. So now let's go straight to Islamic UMMAH Relief.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving us more gist with regard to that?
Okay. So Islamic UMMAH Relief, that's the name, I.U.R. Like I said, it headquarters in the United States. But the founder, there are 3 founders, and all of them, 2 are Ghanaians, and 1 is Nigerian. So they saw the need to alleviate people's conditions. We unfortunately find ourselves in a part of the world where most of us are below the poverty line.
Okay.
Most of us within the capital will find ourselves having 3 square meals a day and finding where to sleep. But unfortunately, we have our brothers and sisters elsewhere within the same country who are finding it difficult in regards to food, shelter, and so on and so forth. So they thought it wise to create this organization to aid these people. So our target groups are 3 generally. So the first is the orphans, the second are the widows, and the third are any less privileged groups. We've visited the prisons before. We've had interactions with community members to understand what certain communities in the northern region will need from the government and they are not getting. So orphans, widows, and any less privileged group. So those are our target groups, and we have specialized programs for widows and orphans. So with regards to the orphans, our main objective is to construct an orphanage, which we've already started. In terms of percentage, I would say we are about 20% in. Basically, funds will have to be a very big factor in this. So we've tried to find other ways of getting funds. I'm sure maybe we can discuss that subsequently. And the second is the widows. The widows, we have special programs like the Widow Skills Project. We know that most organizations are primarily into providing food for widows and then they just go.
Exactly.
If you give someone food today, the person will require another food another time.
Exactly.
So it's best to give the person some skill so that even if you're not around, the person is able to financially be fit to take care of herself and also her kids who are orphans at that stage. And any less privileged group. So if there's any activity, because we receive requests from people, if there's a need to go in and support, we basically do that.
Okay. And then for how long have you been working?
Okay, so it was the founders started in 2018. The founders
As in Ghana or international?
the States.
Okay.
But Ghana, we started our activities in January 2019.
Okay.
And our first program was in collaboration with other programs. We really believe that most of our activities in the Zongos are not moving forward because of less of coordination. We have a lot of organizations doing the same thing, which can almost draws us back. If you have 2 or 3 organizations doing the same thing, why not come together? So one of our objectives is basically to find people who are doing something similar to ours. We either give them the backing support in terms of finance, or if you're organizing a program and any organization wants to come on board, we do that as well.
Okay. And then so far so good. How many programs do you think you've done so far? From 2019, that's last year.
All right. So we've done a lot of programs in terms of. So we construct boreholes.
Okay.
Since 2019 to date, we've constructed 5. As I speak to you now, we have 2 under construction. One in the
That's borehole.
2 boreholes. One in Winchi and another one in Antwa Samai, that is in the Ashanti region. So when that is completed, we have 7 boreholes that we've constructed across the country. Other programs, like I said, the orphanage program, and also the widow skills project. Someone in bakery, you need to give the person some starter. If you train someone in sewing, you need to give the person some, because they are widows first and foremost. And even the training, they didn't even pay for it. So how do you expect the person to pay for to get an oven after the ceremony? So the programs, there are a lot. Like I said, I don't work alone. We have a lot. I have a lot. About 7 executives, including me. That will be 8, and then a very large pool of volunteers that helps to coordinate this activity. So we are all across the country, from the south to the north. The first 5 boreholes that I spoke about are unfortunately all in the north. It's rather that we are now coming down with Wenchi and Ashanti region. So our programs are large. We are just anyhow we can support the Ummah, we basically do that.
And then with regard to, you were talking about the widow in here. Yeah. What of the orphans? Do you have any special program for them?
Right. So we have future programs for the orphans, just like the skills. The orphans, they are young, they are youth. So we are looking at the technological era that we find ourselves in. So we have programs for them where we teach them something that will be beneficial to them within this era. But for now, we are looking at the widows, the skills training, but we also have a specialized programs for orphans which are in the future.
Okay. And then taking into consideration the fact of feeding.
Yeah.
I know you don't just train them, but there are some people who feed too.
Yeah. Right. So one of our programs is a food drive. We look at certain groups of people in the community and try to give them food every month. That's how we started basically. So we found out that every month you give someone food, the next day you go back to another community, and the first community is calling you. You go to the next community, the first and second community are calling you. So you have to sit down and bring about that video skills project. So the video skills is in Ifugase. Okay. So these are 5 videos that we've selected within the community, and we don't expect for us to go to the next community and those same 5 videos will still calling for our help. I understand. So giving them something to do and then moving on to the next community, little by little, inshallah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then I think last part of this this part of the segment. What of your funding? How do you get your funding?
Okay, so funding is very, very important when it comes to NGOs. And even before we started, 2018, the last part of 2018, like I said, when the founders brought about the idea, for 3 months, the last 3 months of 2018, we had to sit down and find ways of means of getting funding that will always come in. And I've been part of other organizations where you're organizing a program, you always go to your rich men in the community, and then they get tired of you. Exactly. So I've been in the space of the tech. I knew about something called crowdfunding, where basically you go to an event and then the last part of the program is where there's fundraising. So there's basically fundraising happening on the internet. Okay. Basically that's what crowdfunding is. So you just basically, there are websites or there are organizations that spearhead this kind of activities. The one we use a number of them, but the first one we started with was Launch Good. So you just go there, put in your activities, what you require, what the solution, the problem you want to solve, and then people see the need to support, basically. So that's how we run our activities from start to now.
So if you are listening, we are talking to one of our brothers, Mohammed Sylla, who is part of the leading executives of Islamic Human Review, that's I.U.R. So we will be taking our very quick commercial break, and when we return, we have a lot to discuss. That is poverty and how to eradicate it. Thank you, and stay tuned.
كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه بالتحدي لا سواه حرر النفس ولا تحيا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, fellow viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam. I'm your brother Muhammad Ishaq, the Assistant Director of this Noble Foundation, Tarbiyah Foundation speaking. Currently, I'm urging people to subscribe to the Muslim Bawa Show on KR Live Media to watch, because they have a lot of educative programs and religious programs, especially the youth, the coming youth, that they should always try and subscribe to this media so that they will also have a good of what.
So if you are just tuning in, you are watching the Muslim Bawa Show with Muslim Bawa Kuli. Earlier on, we were discussing with our brother with regard to I.U.R. So we are just chipping into a social canker as any other problem facing us within our society. Today we are talking about poverty and how to eradicate poverty. So my brother, what do you think about poverty? What's poverty in the first place?
So poverty basically has to do with someone below the poverty line, someone who can't have 3 square meals, doesn't have a place to lay his or her head at night, someone who's just not financially stable, basically. I would say
That's
someone who's poor.
okay. What do you think if we are to take us through within our society currently, we could see, I don't know, but statistically, I think more than half of our citizens are into this poverty. What do you think?
I won't dispute that fact. You might even say more than half, because just we have the higher class, the middle class, and then the lower class citizens, and most of us, even though we refer to us as middle class, the country itself is a developing country, so we won't say we are actually, the majority of them are rich. Most of us are below the poverty line. Even those with 3 square meals, you see people with riding cars, they get home and they are thinking a lot of loans behind them. I get it. So when it comes to poverty, we all have, you see that you pass through before you get rich, or then we all face it one way or the other.
What do you think is the reason behind this poverty within our system?
Okay, so it's from 2 angles. First has to be from the government. We are not on an island. We live in a country where there are leaders, and their mandate is to cater for the welfare of the citizens. So if a citizen is poor, definitely the government will take blame. Secondly, it has to fall within the individual, him or herself. Because if you are educated, formal or informal, you should be able to fend for yourself. I get it. So if the government has given you the space to be able to educate yourself, and then you still find yourself below the poverty line, at that point I believe the government has done enough. But in the first place, if the government is not doing anything, then the blame has to start from the government.
Okay, and then to your own knowledge, how do you think we can eradicate this poverty within our system?
We can't totally eradicate it. And interestingly, I was reading something this morning regards to how artificial intelligence, I'm an IT person, so sorry I'm putting this in, how artificial intelligence can help solve the poverty issue in the world. So in terms of artificial intelligence, where you are able to predict happenings in the future, where the government releases a budget and is able to predict which sector of the country or the economy will be affected much, and then try to solve that, try to prevent it from escalating. So when it comes to what's the name, the issue of poverty, eradicating it is huge, but it's not impossible. The government, first and foremost, has to pay attention to the people who are below poverty line. Unfortunately, we live in a country where it's the government of the day takes it off, and then the poor ones are left to wallow, fight for themselves, which is very, very bad. So the government has to do something, and it's not impossible. It can be done. I get it. Making sure that everyone in the community has a share of the cake. And then apart from that, it falls down to the individual, educating yourself to move yourself from there.
Okay, I can see that. And then, what do you call it? With regard to your project, for the past year, that's 2019, do you think within short time, or I say within some time, we could try our best to take off this poverty within our system?
I'll be lying if I say just my organization will be able to do it. We'll have to work with a lot of people have to come in. I get it. Maybe my organization is looking at the point of going directly to the people who are in need of shelter, food, and accommodation. And then other organizations can focus on policy making. The government of the day is within the country. They don't have all the knowledge in their heads. So other organizations can look at policy and try to advise the government on what to do and what not to do. So we don't expect to eradicate poverty. Even America, the West world that we say, there are people who are still poor in those countries. But there needs to be that effort. We need to see government trying to solve that problem. We need to see NGOs trying to solve that problem. We need to see people, the wealthy people in our communities trying to solve that problem. Without it, we will all be where we are.
Okay, and so far so good. We all try our best to point a right finger to us.
No.
So far so good. If you are to tally your work,
Yeah.
do you think you are doing a very good job?
In terms of impact, we've impacted certain people in the community. So because the feedback we get is quite encouraging. We go and give a community, one of the communities, we built a borehole from a 4. They are about, I think, 2,400 population. And after building because they don't have any water source, it was just the dam. And the north, if it's the dry season, then you are fighting for water. You're only getting water during the rainy season. And they are very thankful, especially if you are going to commission the borehole and they come out in their numbers. At least when you leave that community, you've impacted about 2,400 lives. So that alone is encouraging.
Okay, so taking into consideration the name Islamic Women Relief, that means the setup itself is from Islamic aspect.
Yeah.
So do you target Christians or is it only for Muslims?
Okay, so it's a religious body, but we don't discriminate if an individual needs help, and then we need to help him. It's a religious body. We seek for our fans portraying ourselves as an Islamic body, even though we are non-partisan, we are non-sect, and we basically try to help because the community, like the borehole, definitely not everyone is a Muslim. I get it. So even though you are impacting a community, most of them are not. Some are Muslims, others are not.
So if you are listening, they just don't help all the Muslims. They take into consideration humanity at hand, either Muslim or Christian. We are all one. So with this, we come to the end, to the second segment of of today's show. So my bro, are you ready for the fun time? Okay, so we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we return, we see what to do in here.
The Muslim Bawa Show is brought to you by Wellbeing Body Talk, Kylia's Glamorous, Susanna's Bleach, Shanti Creation, Koli Special, Haskina Believer Enterprise, and Z Bakery.
Hello, and welcome back. I think it's the fun time, that's the game, as we told you earlier on. So we are starting. If you are ready, I think let's kick it on.
Very ready.
Okay. You being into this IT architects, when we're in school, your what do you call it? CPU. What is CPU? The full name for CPU and things.
Yeah.
But this time, I'm giving you some acronyms.
Wow.
They give me their full
Okay.
meaning. I think I have my producer gave me 3. So let's start with GBA. G as in God, B as in ball, A as in apple. GBA.
That was maybe Ghana Boxing Association.
Ghana Boxing Association.
Okay. That's not what you have.
Okay. Okay, you have a point, but here is Ghana Bar Association. Ghana Bar Association. And then we have GHS.
GHS. Ghana Health Service.
Ghana Health Service, you have it right. And then GSE.
GSE. Fortunately, I don't know.
That is Ghana Stock Exchange.
Ghana,
Okay, so when did Ghana become independent?
19.
You mind reciting the Ghanaian anthem? If you can do it singing, if you can recite
The national anthem what they play.
not
That's always for
the anthem. The anthem.
Sing it. You can only sing. God bless our home, Ghana. Make our nation great and strong. Bold to defend forever. The cause of freedom and of right. You said I should sing it. Not to this place myself.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for that. So, which country is the east of Ghana?
East.
Yeah.
East will be. Would that be Togo?
Are you sure? Be certain.
Togo. Final answer.
Togo.
Am I
Togo,
wrong?
final answer. I think you have it right. Togo is the answer. And then I want you to give me the representation of the colors in Ghana flag. Let's start with red.
Red will have to be the toll of our forefathers, the blood they shed, fighting for the independence.
You have it right. The gold.
Gold, like being gold, gold reserves or gold resource, natural resource.
Our mineral wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, and then green.
Green will have to be our forestation, our forests within the land.
Okay, and then black.
Black, I think that stands for the spirit of Africa, where we're fighting for uniting Africa.
I think you have this right. You have this right. So our final question in here, so that we bring this part to a good end. Who designed the Ghanaian flag?
No clue.
Ghanaian flag.
No clue.
No clue.
Yeah.
Okay, my producer said it's Theodora Oko. Okay, so viewers, if you are watching us in here, I think we are done with the part of games. Your reward will be with my producer. I think you do that. You give
I'll go for it
whatever he asks. Okay. So without wasting much time, do you mind giving us a social media handles? I think there's high possibility.
Yeah. So we have a website, that's www.islamicummarelief.org, and all our social media platforms at Islamic Ummah Relief, with the exception of Twitter, which is at Islamic Ummah R. So every other social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, is Islamic Ummah Relief, but Twitter is Islamic Ummah R.
So you can follow them on their social media handles in order to know much of what they do there. So I think I will, what do you call it? I'll ask all of you in here watching us to try your best to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is KR Live Media. You can visit us on our website, KILive.com. Live is LIVEZ.com. You'll find more of our program in there, the news, the sports, whatsoever. They are all there. Our Facebook is KI Live Media. Our YouTube is KI Live Media. You can subscribe there too. So we thank you for watching us. It's been an exciting day, and I'm very happy we had one of our brothers in here. My name is Muslim Bawa Show, and peace.